Yeah, thanks. Everyone needs to take a seat. We have a couple of costume characters here tonight to lead us in the pledge. If we could have Councilmember Becky Wynn and our fire chief come forward and lead us in the pledge. If we'd all stand and face the flag, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I'd like to recognize Janet Lieberman to recognize our special guest, and they need to stay down there. Hey, Ricky, back up there, Ricky.
Thank you, Mayor Wood. Well, as you've already introduced, our special guests tonight are Councilwoman Becky Wynn and Fire Chief Spencer Ricky, in other words, and they are the winners, I guess in quotes, of our first Green Hair Challenge. As you probably know, we
let's have a hand for our winners.
Between them, they got 250 some odd votes. And the
You don't need to talk about the rest of it.
I wasn't going to. What I will say is that Roswell employees and Roswell citizens came through and we raised about $550 to go for CFL light bulbs as part of our light bulb exchange this Wednesday, Earth Day. 3 to 7, ground floor, southern end of the building under Recreation and Parks. We are asking, it's open to all citizens and employees of Roswell to come and bring all their old light bulbs, and we will give you up to 3 CFLs. And Chief and Becky are holding those as part of our ongoing sustainability efforts here at the city. All you have to do is bring them. We will ask of one thing. Georgia Power donated 500 bulbs to us, and they have asked that everyone sign a commitment form that they will continue their sustainability practices at home after they receive their light bulbs. So that's all that's going to be required. Wednesday, 3 to 7, ground floor, southern entrance. The green-haired people will be there from 3 to 4, signing autographs, taking pictures, whatever. And
wearing their green hair.
Wearing their green hair, absolutely. So, do you all have anything you'd like to say? Thanks for the support.
Appreciate the support. Thank you very much.
All right.
Let's have a hand for Keep
Thank you
Roswell
very
Beautiful
much.
and our green hair winners. We have nominations for the Disability Grievance Appeals Committee. Mr. Davidson, do you want to remind the council or read for the audience the responsibility of what this grievance committee will be doing? Who has that? Tell us what the role of this committee will be. Someone knows.
In a nutshell, Mr. Mayor, as part of our ADA transition plan, we need to establish this grievance board so that if in the unlikely event staff is unable to resolve a grievance or complaint against the city in terms of our compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act, that this citizen panel will serve to hear that grievance and make a recommendation to the mayor and council.
The nominations for that Grievance Appeals Committee are Barbara Ann Bongiovanni, Becky Dowling, Ari Tone, Marshall Lichtenstein, Tim O'Neill, Diane Prindle, and Jack Thompson. And as an alternate, Kylie Moore is nominated to serve as an alternate. Do we have a motion to approve that slate of candidates? Motion by Councilmember Tollison for approval. Do we have a second? Second. Second by the green-haired lady, Councilmember Becky Wynn. All in favor of the motion, raise their hands. passes unanimously. I think we have Tim O'Neill here, and is Barbara Bongiovanni. Barbara Ann, if they'll stand up, Tim O'Neill and Barbara Ann Dunn. Oh, she's not going to stand up. She's raised her hand. Becky Dowling and Tim O'Neill. Do we have any other members here on that? Diane Prindle and... Where's Diane? Those three are here. Let's give a hand for those folks who are going to be serving. And at this time, I would like to recognize Councilmember David Tollison for our Special Populations Awareness Month presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I want to add several thank yous because an evening like this comes together because a lot of people get involved. Certainly the Mayor and Council for their ongoing support throughout the year of disability awareness issues. Robin Kinner and Laura Seidlinger from the Mayor's office. When you go next door afterwards, you're going to see some good food and have some good fun because of their hard work. Kay Love and her staff, notably Katie Trolling from Joe Glover's Recreation and Parks Department, she's there in the back, works hard all year with us. Stephanie Dye from Kathleen Fields Community Development Department. Stephanie deals with a lot of the ADA issues, and other staff members who volunteer their time throughout the year to help us out. Certainly our Inclusion Task Force and ADA Task Force volunteers, if you wave a hand, we got some here. On those two task forces, we appreciate the work that you do, particularly tonight Diane Prindle for a lot of her work helping to organize this event. And Leah Kelly and the students from Roswell High's Roast and Toast Coffee Shop who are providing coffee for the reception later tonight. We're glad to have you here. I had thought, and we didn't get around to it fast enough, to change the name of tonight to Community Inclusion Awareness Night, because that's what we're talking about. Everyone in Roswell is special, but we want to make sure that everyone is included. And according to the Census Bureau, about 20% of our population, all ages and circumstances, are individuals with disabilities, and that can range from something that you have as you come into the world when you're born, or something that you acquire later. It's been said if we're fortunate enough to live long enough, we're all pre-disabled, that the likelihood is we will all need some accommodations to be fully included in our community. And we believe here in Roswell that all people have value, and that it's important to include all people. And we're working hard to remove barriers and fully include everyone in the life of our city. Over the last year, we've developed the structure for the ADA Grievance Appeals Committee as part of our transition plan. We've continued ADA updates in several city facilities, including the installation of high-low drinking fountains, ADA-compliant doors, paper towel dispensers, removal of obstructions, installation of handrails, P-trap covers to prevent burns, repair of a list of things that we needed for accessibility, including a lift, installation of new handicap parking directional signs, parking lot striping for van loading and accessible spaces, addition of accessible parking spaces, and curb ramps. Moving forward, over the next year, we'll continue to improve parking and signage, improve ramps and parking at Roswell Area Park, provide assistive listening devices for the Cultural Arts Center, and this month we're launching a dialogue with our sister cities in North Fulton, Fulton County and Fulton County Schools, and others to discuss the possibility of a public-private partnership regarding increased inclusive recreation and leisure programming activities. So we're excited about that, and in addition to our activities to remove physical barriers, we want to continue as a city and a community to work on the removal of cultural barriers and things that prevent everyone from fully participating in our community. One organization in our town that's doing just that is North Fulton Regional Hospital. In May 2003, Diane Prindle from Roswell-based Briggs & Associates came and talked to me about a program in Cincinnati called Project Search, and her organization wanted to bring that down here. And we were looking at North Fulton Hospital, and I said, well, I know just the man. And Councilman Jerry Orleans serves on the board at North Fulton, has for several years. He was very happy to set up a meeting with John Holland, the CEO at the time. And John just heard us out and said, we're going to do this. And since that time, the program has included to evolve a high school transition program with Fulton County Schools. Hospital is nearing the completion of a third classroom to support that program, and just has done wonderful work that's been emulated throughout the metro area. So with that, I'd like to introduce Susan Brown, the project coordinator for Project Search, who along with some of her colleagues will share with us the good programs going on at North Fulton. And after that, we have a proclamation from the mayor and a plaque to present to North Fulton. And then we're going to have an opportunity to break for a few minutes and enjoy one another's company. So, Susan?
Thank you so much for this opportunity to come here tonight and talk to you about this wonderful program that we have at our hospital. I'm going to spend just a few minutes talking about how we started this program and then get into the successes that we've had since 2004 when we started this program. Back in 2004, our hospital started talking with Briggs & Associates, which is an employment company that works with individuals who have developmental disabilities. The program that we were talking about at that point in time was called Project Search. And the whole purpose behind the Project Search program was to place individuals with developmental disabilities into non-traditional types of roles. Normally, when we think about that population, we think about them doing jobs in food service or in housekeeping. Up in Cincinnati, there was a program that was started by an emergency department director that actually employed these individuals in hospitals in very non-traditional roles. So, we obviously were targeted by Briggs & Associates to, in regard to starting that type of a program in our particular industry. So, once our senior team made the commitment that we were going to bring on this program, I'm going to move this up a little bit, we thought that our first step was to get the commitment of the director level within our organization. And we felt that probably the best way to do that was actually bring Briggs & Associates into our hospital, as well as that emergency department director up at Children's Hospital in Cincinnati. She was a very dynamic speaker and obviously very competent in healthcare, so we were very successful in selling this concept to our directors. The next step for us was actually to develop the roles or the positions that we would offer to these Project Search employees. So what we did is we looked at all the various positions around our hospital in regard to what were those elements of those positions that were more routine, and so they could obviously be successful in that position, but also we never seemed to have the time to get at those particular tasks. So what we essentially did is we took positions and we carved out certain responsibilities within those positions and offered those as Project Search positions. Some examples of what we came up with was sterilizing IV poles or IV equipment. One thing in hospitals is that, obviously you've got to clean that IV equipment between patients, and it usually sat on the floors. It was the responsibility of materials management. They kind of forgot about it. So we thought that that would be a good position, and it has been. It's been very successful for us. All of us that work in offices, I'm sure that your filing is always behind. We found that that was also a very good type of position for this population. Also, in hospitals, we have have thousands of different types of supplies coming into our facility each and every day. So we needed help labeling all of those medical supplies and making sure that they were stored properly so we could get at them when we needed them. And then lastly, we also store critical supplies in patient rooms, particularly those types of supplies to protect our employees. It's called personal protective equipment. So we had a position with Project Search going around and restocking those supplies in our patient rooms. The primary goal when establishing these types of positions were positions that the Project Search employee could do successfully, but also positions that were truly adding value to the organization. In order for this type of program to be successful, you have to have those employees doing tasks that are truly going to be adding value. The next step that we did was we felt that it was important that we train our existing employees on how to properly interact with these new employees who were coming into our hospital. Frequently, individuals with developmental disabilities are very sociable, very likable, and very huggable, which is great, except in the work site, we all have a job to do, and we all have to make sure that we're appropriate. So we wanted to make sure that our employees were not encouraging inappropriate behavior on the part of our new Project Search employees, and therefore we made sure that they understood that they had a job to do as well. They needed to stay on task. They couldn't inappropriately, excessively engage in socialization. So we asked for their cooperation to make sure that these new employees were successful. I'm pleased to announce that back in 2004, when we started this program, we had 9 employees, and the program was received very positively by our existing employees. I think, to sum it up, I would say that they felt very proud to be part of an organization that is truly inclusive of all citizens in our communities that we serve. We were the first hospital in Atlanta to start this program, and since then it has actually expanded to other hospitals. Our sister tenant hospital, Atlanta Medical Center, which is located down in Midtown, has a program. At the time, back in 2004, we had a radiology director who left and then joined Piedmont, and he was very instrumental in starting this program at Piedmont. They are also now in Emory, Children's, and Gwinnett Medical Center. I'm also pleased to say that we've expanded this program from just an employment program to also a student program, whereby senior students in the Fulton County school system who are in a special education program actually come on site in our hospital, and they do a series of rotations around the hospital to experience a variety of different jobs to determine which would be the best fit for them upon their graduation. Another important aspect of this program is teaching these students work adjustment or work conduct skills, such as coming to work on time, coming to work appropriately dressed and groomed, staying on task, all of those types of things. We have in the 07 and 08 school year, we've placed 11 students from this program, 9 of them actually at Scottish Rite Hospital and 2 at our hospital. In conclusion, I would like to thank everyone in our community who assist these citizens in becoming integrated in our workplaces around the North Fulton communities. The special ed teachers, the job coaches, and all of the employers who each and every day work with this population and make them successful. I know at our particular hospital, this program has had a very positive influence on our culture, on our organizational culture, and I think has helped us integrate more effectively with the communities that we serve. So again, thank you very much.
On behalf of the City of Roswell, I want to thank North Fulton Hospital for including all of the citizens and being a leader in this program. Let's have a hand for North Fulton. They're doing a great job.
Thank you very much. And it's now my pleasure to introduce two of my coworkers who are also going to be saying a few words about this wonderful program. One is Phantom King, who actually joined our hospital through the Project Search program, and one of her coworkers, Janae Burris. So, Janae and Phantom, thank you.
Hi, my name is Phantom King. I work in radiology of North Fulton Hospital. I'm actually the file clerk at radiology. Filing is my role, and what I do there is I retrieve the files and I take it to all the different modalities. Now that we're going families, I have actually, how would you say it? Got a new position, which I will burn CDs, help my coworkers with the patients at the windows, answer the telephone, just being a team player as needed.
Good evening. As Susan introduced, my name is Janae Burris, and it is a pleasure to talk about what Phantom means to our department at North Fulton Hospital. When my director asked me to speak about Phantom tonight, she expressed her own sentiment on how much Phantom means to us, which echoed my own feelings. She spoke with fondness how Phantom does such a great job, and in turn how we enjoy seeing her succeed, which I could not agree more. I can recall during my very first days in radiology that Phantom was one of the ones who was assigned to me to help with my orientation of the office. She was so patient with my many questions and was able to show and explain to me my procedures necessary for my job. As the new girl, I found her to be one of my key go-to persons when I found myself in a bind. She was the one who introduced us to our radiologists with whom we work, and she was also the one who gave me a tour around the hospital. It seemed like wherever we went, everyone knew Phantom. That's because aside from her technical assistance, her jovial and lighthearted personality draws people to her. And that same personality brought me in and made me feel welcome. Phantom is the perfect fit for her position in our department. She is a tremendous help in serving our patients, from answering questions they may have to preparing their files and other materials for an upcoming visit. She's also helpful in handling requests given by our radiologists, our techs, nurses, and any other staff. She is so diligent in her tasks and in the seemingly little things that when she's absent, she's missed in a huge way. She's right there to help out and even there to take on any new tasks that she may be given. She truly is quite capable in the daily routines of the office and is the glue that we need that enables everything to run smoothly. Phantom and I have been working together for 2 years now, and I find her still to be as important to us now as I did as the new girl. Still calling out her name when I have various questions about just anything in general, as I'm sure she can attest. She is loved in our department, and we very much appreciate what she does for us. This is why, indeed, it was such a pleasure to share about Phantom at North Fulton Hospital. Thank you.
Thank you.
It is my privilege now to read a proclamation recognizing the Community Inclusion Awareness Month for April of 2009. Whereas all people are valued to our society regardless of their abilities, And whereas, based upon the U.S. Census figures, the city's 2005 comprehensive plan identifies over 13,000 Roswell citizens who have a developmental or physical disability. And whereas the Georgia Governor's Council on Disabilities states that 1 in every 5 people have a developmental disability. And whereas the Inclusion Task Force was formed to increase awareness and to identify and coordinate access to opportunities, services, and programs serving people with special needs through enhanced public and private partnerships. And whereas the ADA Task Force was created to ensure the city's compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act and has worked toward making Roswell the first city in Roswell with an ADA transition plan as required by federal law. And whereas Roswell wants to work with others to create opportunities that will improve the quality of life for people with disabilities and their families, and to advance the understanding of the abilities of all people through education, research, and public service. And whereas Roswell's goal is to increase the inclusion and integration in the community of all our citizens, now therefore I, Jerry Wood, Mayor of the City of Roswell, do hereby proclaim April 2009 as Community Inclusion Awareness Month in Roswell, and ask all of you to join me in that celebration and to join me in room 220 right now for some... Well, David's going to get to say that.
But first we have a plaque to present to Susan and her colleagues. So if I can ask Mayor and Council to join me down front for that presentation. Then we go eat. Oh, no.
Jeanette, good talk. Family? They did great. I can see you're proud of them. Come on up here. They want our picture.
We're going to come over there for the picture, but first I'd like to read this plaque and thank Fred Williams from our Recreation Commission. Fred donated the plaque. That's his line of work, and he's a great guy and very supportive of our efforts throughout the city, particularly the Recreation Department. So thank you, Fred. But this reads... The City of Roswell's Inclusion Task Force recognizes North Fulton Regional Hospital for its continued efforts to improve the quality of life for individuals with disabilities through meaningful employment with Project Search, April 20th, 2009. Thank you.
Like a couple.
Caleb. I have 1, 2. Where's my third? David Tollison. You make 3. You make a quorum. We can do the work session in here. I don't see we can start it in here. There's no. We can do the work session in here. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Motion by Councilman Orleans. Do we have a second? Second by Councilman Laurie Henry. For the record, present are Councilman Orleans, Councilman Tollison, and Councilmember Henry. We have 3 members who are entertaining next door and will join us shortly. It was a recess. We are reconvened. Well, it appears that everything is on Councilmember Eichelhardt's agenda. Mrs. Love, if you would read item number 4.
Item number 4 is approval of a resolution to accept the neighborhood.
Can I have the doors closed? Thank you, sir.
Approval of a resolution to accept the Neighborhood Stabilization Program grant award from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development and approval of budget amendment 7323G2042009 in the amount of $721,321. Mr. Blitz, you can come up in case there are any questions regarding this.
Would you explain this to the, I know we've had an earlier explanation, but if you'll, for the folks in the audience, tell us what is it, this $721,000 has been will be allocated for?
Yes, sir. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development has created the program to provide emergency assistance to local governments so that they can acquire and redevelop foreclosed properties that might otherwise become abandoned and could result in blight in the community. The goal of the program is to stabilize neighborhoods and assist in mitigating the decline in the value of neighboring homes. The program involves the purchasing of bank-owned foreclosed properties and readying them for resale or for rental. At least 25% of the funds are to be used for housing individuals and families whose incomes do not exceed 50% of the area median income.
Danny, how have we determined to spend this money? I think we've designated some organizations to help us with this.
We're going to entertain a request for proposals process and select a certified housing development organization or 2 to implement the program for us in Roswell.
Do we have any certified housing organizations here in Roswell which we could work with?
I don't know. Let's ask. I don't think so. The 2 certified housing development organizations are Habitat for Humanity of North Fulton and the Amen Housing are the 2 that are certified in Roswell.
So the process will be is upon acceptance of this, we will notify them and any other qualified organizations of this opportunity. They will make proposals to us, and that will come back to council for consideration.
Yes, sir.
Do we have a motion?
Move to approve the resolution.
Motion by Councilmember Eichelhardt for approval. Do we have a second? Second by Councilmember Orleans. Does anyone in the audience have any questions or comments? Any further? Yes, Councilmember DiPolito.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We had talked about this previously with community development. Was that just for applying for the grant and now we're accepting the grant?
Yes, sir. We applied back in January, and we received notification that the state had signed the award documents on March 27th. So we can accept them now if we wish to.
All right. So this is the same grant that we had discussed previously.
This is a formal acceptance.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any other questions? All in favor of the motion, raise their hands. Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
And the next item is the approval of a resolution to recertify the City of Roswell as a certified City of Ethics through GMA. And this will be Mr. Bovos' last meeting with us, so we want to thank him for all the work he's done, and we'll put him through the ringer here.
First of all, good evening to all of you. I'll be brief on this particular item. In October 1999, the Council passed a resolution to participate in GMA's program. In early 2000, the City received its first certification under the Certified City of Ethics. And since that time, GMA has revised slightly their program guidelines, which does require cities to resubmit certification on a 4-year basis. That recertification process is designed to keep ethics at the forefront of the government bodies. The resolution that's before you this evening GMA would recertify the City of Roswell. It's due by June 30th of this particular year, and would be good for a 4-year term. I'm happy to answer any questions anybody may have regarding the resolution.
Will this recertification require any amendments to the existing rules of ethics?
No, sir. There was an amendment by the council in October of 2007. It dealt with the members of the board, if you will, and that will be submitted to GMA, but that should not affect the recertification process whatsoever.
Mr. Davidson, would you explain if there is an ethics complaint, how it is heard?
We have a board of ethics. I believe each council member and the mayor has nominated 2 members, and basically names are drawn out of a hat, and the members are chosen in that way, and they would hear the complaint.
So from the panel which the council has nominated, then a number is selected?
That's correct.
And how many people would serve on that panel?
I think it's 5.
How long has this ethics resolution been in effect in the city of Roswell?
It was originally adopted in 1997.
And since 1997, how many ethics complaints has this board heard?
None to my knowledge.
And why is that?
Because y'all are all very ethical.
I think the explanation is that there has never been probable cause to find any elected official in the city of Roswell. There's never been probable cause to bring this to the ethics board.
That's correct.
That was the point I wanted to make through my questioning, which I think is Mr. Bobos can tell you that is a good record for a city. It's not a record. There's some cities in North Fulton County which are much younger than the city of Roswell, which don't have nearly as clean a record as the city. Not because of any particular problems, just because we've got a culture here of
just
collegiality.
I guess we couldn't escape that on my last night, could we? We just couldn't.
Just keep talking.
Yeah. Wow.
So, Ms. Davis, just a last check. Do we have are there any current vacancies on that board of ethics? That's fully. I know we've had turnover in the past, but.
Well, no, sir. There are not any vacancies. Each council member has provided 2 names. We do have one remaining that needs to be provided just because of a conflict. But outside of that, I have all the names on file, and should there ever be a need, as the city attorney said, we will draw the names out of a hat.
I just want to make sure that we're current. We're fully a quorum, and they're available if the need arises.
Yes, sir. But I'm certain the need won't arise.
All right. Do we have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Motion by Councilmember Eichelhardt. Do we have a second? Second by Councilmember Tollefson. Does anyone in the audience have any questions or comments? All in favor of the motion, raise their hands. Passes unanimously.
Next item is the approval of a budget amendment 440A-04-20-09 to fund the final phase of the space plane project for 105A Dobbs Drive.
Mayor and Council, in January of 2004, the city began what we termed at that point in time as the space planning project. As a result of that specific project, there were several improvements made to facilities owned by the government, primarily City Hall, 1810 Hembry Road, and now this particular agenda item, if approved, will end with Dobbs Drive being renovated. I'm going to talk to you just a little bit about Dobbs Drive. The facility was first used as the city's fleet management facility and housed by employees of Environmental Public Works. When 1810 Hembry Road was built, the majority of those operations went to 1810 Hembry Road. However, there are approximately 5 employees who are still within Environmental Public Works occupying the facility. There are some pictures up and hopefully on your monitors which reflect kind of the conditions of the structure as it is today. Over the past couple years, we have made some improvements on the building. Some of the challenges that did exist a few years ago were, number one, a leaky roof that has been repaired. Number two, wall spalling, and that's the exterior wall spalling. You all may know that that is a concrete structure, and what happened is there began to be separation between the concrete structure. So you could actually stand inside the building and look outside to see if it were raining, despite the fact that there were no windows. The HVAC systems, we have at this point in time mold inside and mold spores inside the HVAC systems. One of those systems has been completely removed. The second system that is in the area of the space that is currently occupied is still intact and does need to be addressed. There's asbestos tile. Part of that tile has been abated through some of the construction that's occurred to date. At this point in time, staff recommends completing the interior space renovations. As a result of that, we would rehab 1,950 square feet of space that is currently unoccupied and about 2,500 square feet of space that is occupied. The end result would be 9 offices, 9 cubicles, 2 storage areas, 4 bathrooms, 3 with showers, a multi-purpose area, and a conference room that would facilitate the needs of the Environmental Public Works Department. Happy to answer any questions that anybody has. The budget amendment I will touch just briefly on does allocate approximately $190,000 of fund balance out of the water fund. That money combined with money that's already available would provide $330,000, which would complete the interior renovations, including furniture, carpet, fixtures, that type of thing.
Are there any questions? Do we have a motion?
Move to approve the budget amendment.
Motion to approve the budget amendment by Councilman Eichelhart. Do we have a second? Second by Councilmember Laurie Henry. Does anyone in the audience have any questions or comments? Any further discussion by council? All in favor of the motion, raise their hand. Passes unanimously.
And then the final item for Mr. Bobos, I'm not sure whether this is the most appropriate or not, but the Animal Control Services, he's gone to the dogs. We'll let him finish with that last one here.
Better dogs than coyotes, I guess. But in the spring of 2008, the council agreed to an intergovernmental agreement with Fulton County for Animal Control Services. Just as a reminder, Fulton County provides animal control services for all of the municipalities throughout the county, including all of the cities in North Fulton. At that point in time, when we executed the agreement, it was a 1-year term. The agenda item before you actually extends that 1-year term from July 1st, 2009 through June 30th, 2010. The good thing about this contract is that we have seen a reduction in cost. This particular contract for the next year is estimated at $75,354. That's a reduction from the $86,000 we're currently paying in the fiscal year. I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody may have.
Does the council have any questions? Do we have a motion?
Move to approve the renewal of the agreement.
Motion for approval by Councilmember Eichelhart. Do we have a second? Second by Councilmember Becky Wynn. Does anyone in the audience have any questions or comments? All in favor of the motion, raise their hands. Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
And then before we move to the last item, I do want to thank Mr. Bobos for all the help he's given, particularly in the sustainability efforts that we've been working very closely together for a long time. He's done a lot of things to help make things move, and definitely will miss you.
Let's have a hand for Aaron Bobos as he fades into the distance.
Then our final item is more money that ultimately would be a savings, and this is the approval to sign a contract with Trident Insurance Company for property, casualty, and liability insurance. And Ms. Whitfield will tell us about that, please.
Wonderful news, $139,000 less than that last year. That's due to a very soft insurance market and an excellent claims history by the city of Roswell. Trident, we have almost the exact same insurance that we did with Travelers, but they have come in less than that. So in this market, in this economy, we're going to pull up our boots and try somebody new on and go for the coverage. It's $558,972. If you remember, a little less than 4 years ago, our premiums were up $1.2 million. So that's how much our claims have come down, and that's how our losses have gone down also.
Mrs. Whitfield, do you have a explanation for how we've been able to achieve this, other than the market?
Many less zoning cases. That has been a great deal of it. Less zoning cases.
That is the market.
Yeah, that was a great deal of it 4 years ago, but also the market. So, and we've done a good job. We've had less vehicle accidents. We've reduced those. Our vehicles are getting newer, and we dropped off the coverage of our older vehicles. We only carry the liability on those now. So we'll probably be able to widen out, maybe even lessen our premium as we go along if we take on higher deductibles. So.
Well, for whatever part you had to play in getting our costs down, I appreciate it, and I appreciate staff's effort to get these down. Do we have any questions? We have a motion.
Motion to approve the authorization to sign the contract with Trident Insurance Company for $558,972, and great job from the department.
Motion by Councilmember Eigelhart. Do we have a second? Second by Councilmember Orleans. Does anyone in the audience have any questions or comments? All in favor of the motion, raise their hands. Passes unanimously. Before we adjourn, see if someone could check next door to see. I don't want to run the party animals out. They're having their night, and we may want to have our meeting over here. So let's check and see how they are next door. And while we're waiting on that, I want to compliment and thank staff for the Convoy of Hope, which was a great success. I want to thank Councilmember Orleans, who volunteered in that. And I want to thank Councilmember DiPolito, who made sure that no cats wandered under Mr. Walinda, and also to report back to K-Love that nobody fell. And Mr. DiPolito, if you would like to add any further any more information to the council, you were a big part of making this happen, and if you could give us a quick recap.
Sure, I'd be happy to do that. I think the Convoy of Hope was a big success. If you had an opportunity to come out and see City Hall, they really transformed the grounds in a very short period of time, and from the looks of things, they put it all back together as well, so that was a good thing. There were over 1,500 volunteers, which was significantly more than we had projected. We really thought there'd be up to 1,000, so that was quite a bit more. We had over 2,500 guests, and I don't know all the quantities as far as health services and so forth that were put out, but I know the health services tent was busy pretty much from the time we started to the time we closed. Haircuts were doing the same thing. We gave away lots of groceries. We had planned on having even more people than that, so there were some leftover groceries. All of those went to North Fulton Community Charities. So there was a lot of good done on Saturday. A lot of people were served. And probably the nicest thing about it was Roswell citizens serving Roswell citizens, and just giving out a message of hope, which was wonderful for the city, for the people who were there being served to receive that message of hope, and for the people who were serving to just be able to deliver that. I think it was a good thing for everybody who was involved.
Mr. DiPolito, how many churches and how many charitable organizations were involved?
It was as many as 70. I don't have all of the figures. Jerry Orland's wife, Brenda, was actually intimately involved in that. Jerry, do you know the exact number?
She got 30 churches involved, and then other organizations and businesses and nonprofits. And some of the stats, I don't remember them all either, but they did 400 family portraits of people that came through. They did 550 haircuts of people that came through. And I think it's just, we always talk about the citizens of Roswell volunteering and jumping out in front to do things. And this is probably the biggest coming together of all the different types of organizations in the city. And I think they're going to try to continue the relationship. People know who each other are now better, and try to do some things in the future. I know they're already planning a little, call it a mini Convoy of Hope, just for school kids to give them backpacks and get them back to school in July, I think it is. So I think it was a great day, a great event for the city, and everybody was very appreciative of the city itself being involved and the availability of the city grounds. And as Richard said, they put it up quick and they took it down and cleaned everything up in come in today and you wouldn't, other than maybe a balloon or two in the trees, you wouldn't know anything went on over the weekend.
One of the things that's important, as Jerry was talking about, is that there is a lot of follow-up that's going to go on. In fact, the churches have raised between $8,000 and $10,000 to give out to local charities so that they can then go out and give that money out to the community and to pay for follow-up visits. This is not a one-day event. This was meant to get everybody in one place at one time and provide that opportunity to serve. But the intention is to continue this, to connect all those people who need those services, to find out what they are, to connect them to local churches and organizations, and to have that follow-up so it's an ongoing event. It's not just a one-day thing.
My observation, it was extremely well organized. It was a great event. It's the first time we have brought that many churches and nonprofits together on one project, which was a great achievement. And Mr. DiPolito, if they would like to come back in the future, I will be supporting it, and I'm sure the rest of this council will, because it was a great event. I told the folks I was optimistic but skeptical initially. It exceeded my expectations. It was very well run, and I think Kay Love was probably even pleased with it.
I was pleased indeed.
Kay Love was pleased indeed. And what's the status next door with the party animals? Do we know if they're still partying? They're still packed in there. If we could make an announcement next door that we're going to hold our Mr. Eichelhart, are you comfortable holding your green ribbon meeting in here?
Sure.